Hello, guys, gals, and non-binary pals again, and welcome to another episode of Mike's campaign of Sugoi sauce. Here with us, as always, is our regular do-gooders of thingamajigs and thespians. Last time in our special sort of half episode, we have Babbage Charles, aka the Gnome Tinker, or Jim, off in your bottom left corner.
Hello.
We have you, the Furblog Druid, aka Jeff. Peace and three, and I don't know what that means, but we'll move on from there. We have the wonderful skylight. Oh, got it. We have the wonderful ceiling that is Caden Stormblast's.
Old recess lighting Zach.
Yeah. Well, clearly the man brushes his teeth and plucks his nose hairs, so that's good.
As a man who gets into other people's teeth professionally, I imagine that's a particular thing with him.
Right?
I do wear a mask. Just to make sure the eyelashes and eyebrows look great.
That's fair. Honestly, it's easy to laugh at that, but I think that's a very solid business point right there.
That is fair.
What else are they looking at?
And then we
they
have...
They didn't come there for your unibrow. I'm not saying that you have one.
That's right. It's with the one hair right in the middle is sticking out.
That would be an amusing review to get on your I don't know, Yelp or whatever it is that dentists get for reviews. The dentist is great, but that eyebrow is just
he put me under with the nitrous, and then I thought his unibrow was actually a caterpillar, and it was not a pleasant experience. 2 stars. Oh, my teeth are perfectly clean. Charges a great price.
However,
This was creative. Haunted by the nightmares of the caterpillar.
and if we ever get to this introduction,
Someday we'll say the dad's here.
Deacon Sylvia, the knowledge cleric, aka, Blessed Bellarmine the Great, aka Deacon Sylvia, with his binoculars and what have you. So as I sort of alluded to, yes, as I somewhat alluded to earlier, now that we've done all of that, hopefully it's actually streaming appropriately.
It is. I already verified.
Hooray! Yes, last time we were with our intrepid heroes, they were taking a moment of rest and relaxation and providing their interpretation of whatever I reskinned A Christmas Carol to. I don't even remember anymore.
That's what would you call it? A curmudgeon's tale or something like that?
A curmudgeon's
Chronicle.
Chronicle, yes, thank you.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Like
Chronicle.
just like a certain creator of Marvel, I do like my alliteration and add titles whenever I can get away with it.
Excelsior.
Yes. So yeah, we basically last left them after what the Furblog Druid had basically destroyed half of the stage in the amphitheater.
That's right.
With a combination of just like earth-shattering spells and like entangling the guy who was playing Scrooge, aka Dr. Him, like the
there was a flame wall in the shape of this. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Hey, I mean,
it was a show that the town will remember for years to come, if not the rest
Did we
of the
get a
time.
standing ovation?
Yes, you did. For those that were not still in shell shock from the utter damage and destruction that occurred.
well, you don't put a druid with an 8 charisma in a leading role like that unless you expect a little pizzazz.
So good.
And as a result, both Dr. Gentle Him and Dolan basically said, like, your tabs are covered for however long you're here. We're good. We don't need you to do anything else. We're happy. This is your currency is paid off for the duration.
You should be careful what you wish for.
Yes, indeed. So with that, yeah, basically we just cut from what was like it was a mostly standing ovation. There were a few people that are just sort of just dumbfounded faces for the most part. But yeah, you all have just bowed. You've like holding hands. I think someone pulled Robert from the back to bow. Maybe not. I know he was hiding in the backstage space, if you will. And then and we continue on basically from here. It is.
Oh. As a little flourish, as everyone else is bowing, you becomes incredibly self-conscious when he realizes, this was some kind of staged performance. Read about these things. Only now. And embarrassed and with his furblog tail between his legs, he takes off, uses wild shape to like take off in the form of like a crow or some bird, and just hightail it out of there, pun intended.
the crowd continues to clap like, ooh, one final rendition. And like, Dr. Him, like, since he's standing next to you when you do this, sort of like steps to the side, is like, half scared that you're gonna, I don't know, do something else to destroy the region. So yeah, so the druid takes off as the form of a. I don't know if you can wild shape into a flying thing yet, but we'll, for the sake of flavor, we'll let it go for this once.
You're right. I can't do wings, but I will take off. Let's see. Hold on. If you really hold it to me, I could use
You have
wall
a
of fire
horse
one more.
before.
Well, no, I could use wall. No, it has to be flight. I could use wall of fire one more time to heat up a column of air, and then wild shape into a flying squirrel while concentrating on it, which technically doesn't have flapping wings, right? And then I could float away as a flying squirrel from this column. If you hold me to it. But if you're gonna DM Fiat and say, yeah, for this little thing you can fly, then okay.
I mean,
I wanted you to know that I can do it.
That's so much more spectacular than a bird.
Fire squirrel
using
over
a
bird
level,
every time. What are you talking
yeah.
about?
I mean, I'm gonna go for squirrel no matter what. The fact that you now have like a column of hot air and then have decided to somehow jump like high enough that you're not gonna get burned, but at the same time like float off. I'm tempted to make you roll to see if you don't accidentally burn yourself alive, but I don't want that to happen. So.
Well, I could cast Long Strider on myself for a little extra move speed to happen. That's a non-concentration spell.
So
So
as the crowd, all right. So as the group of you are bowing for reasons that is apparent to no one else, another wall of fire is like emitted from the druid. To which case everybody stops clapping, backs up, is very confused because they thought the show was over. For whatever reason, the Furblog shrinks down into this tiny little flying rodent. Their floating rodent jumps. Gliding rodent, excuse me. Thank you for correcting me. I assume scurries on top of somebody. Canadin, maybe? I don't know. Or maybe one of these pillars. And
I'm going to assume
I
that
would
Caden
totally
is.
give you a hand.
Yeah, he's my leverage.
and the
You hear you in a little tiny squirrel voice like, all right, launch you up. I can't even go that high.
Okay. And we have a spectacular ending to what was already a ridiculous story of the amphitheater. So the rest of you are left with a. Do you I don't know. Do you maintain concentration, or once you're like up and gone, you?
Oh, it's gone once I'm up in the air, and then I'll just float off camera, revert back to my normal form, and then come back and what did you miss? Oh.
I need to make a note for myself to find a squirrel token later, but
What's going on? Was there a show of some sort?
Hey, you.
all right, so the rest of you are left with that.
I'm just soaking in the applause. I'm very proud of my performance. Obviously, it went exactly according to plan, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm just kind of standing, leaning up against one of those the pillars, and just kind of like smiling and nodding at myself, just very, very self-satisfied.
All right.
That's it.
Sorry, give me a minute. I'm having some Roll20 technical difficulties. And Bellarmine?
Are these people gone yet? No.
No.
Waiting for an encore.
I mean, I think they got one.
Yeah, they got one. Waiting for another one. They're waiting to see what happens.
I just start like trying to say to other people, but no one is paying attention to me. I'm just saying like, where's the after party? Where are we going now, everybody? I'm part of the cast. Let's do what the cast does. Like socially awkward.
And with that, yes, the crowd is steadily moving away at this point. A few, you see him sort of gathering a couple of folks in the center. It looks like they're trying to start let's see. Do I have any other? Basically, it looked like they're discussing to whether or not. Well, they're having some sort of discussion. You can't really hear what at this point. But besides that, the rest of the crowd is basically heading off at this point.
Right, gents. These guys here. So, we gonna find an after party, or are we getting back to business?
It is roughly dinner time or early evening at this point.
Why put my all into that performance? I'm clearly hungry.
A bite would be all right.
Oh, whoops! I've got two of them. Tags.
The show has really given me perspective that we've been all gas, no brakes, and it's important to take time to appreciate the life we're still living in the midst of this chaos. In that sense, the town has done their job.
People that need saving.
Bellarmine, the commotion outside seems to have died down.
All right, I'm leaving.
And with little fanfare, the cleric just takes off. I have no idea how or where. Just sort of bolts straight line off the stage, through the dirt, to the difficult terrain, up the stairs, and past a bunch of people and back to town.
Nobody look at me!
Okay. All right. So everybody's headed back to town at this point.
I'm following the mass.
Okay. Jeff, are you also heading back to town, or?
Yeah, so I will use my innate furbog trait to disguise self to look like one of the townsfolk, and then at the right time, when I realize, oh, there's my group of friends, I'll just kind of saunter up and then in front of them, so it's not a total surprise, go back to my original form.
Okay. I'm assuming Kane.
I'll head. I'm gonna go with you guys. Yeah, just back to town.
Yes, you find yourself basically the four of you all meet up right inside the gate. Everybody's sort of milling about. I mean, people are just sort of taking their merry sweet time getting back into town. You saw Dolan take off and head back to his the tavern. Yeah. So Bellarmine is seen sprinting off on his own, headed to I don't know where.
Team Rocket blasting off again.
To the tavern, it looks like, or
I'm assuming that's
tower?
where the after party is going to
do
be.
you want to tell us where you're headed there, Bellarmine?
Yeah, I'm at the tower.
Okay.
Alright.
So he took off to the east toward the tower. I don't know if any of you followed him.
Tower. I thought you said tavern. No, I would head back to the tavern.
Yeah, I
I'm
was
assuming
following
that's
the
where
masses. So, are you saying the entire crowd dispersed, or is there a crowd that went somewhere?
No, for the most part, the crowd, once you get inside the gate, everybody seems to be heading to their own domiciles or, I mean, there's a couple that are headed to the tavern, but for the most part, it's, everybody seems to be breaking off and headed to their own directions.
Real quick, this is a little table talk. Jim, did we actually, in
Not yet.
character...
Not yet.
Okay,
We haven't.
so we need to... Alright. So you turns to his...
I've created the design, but we haven't put two and two together yet.
I feel like this could be... Okay, say no more. You turns to his companions. Oh, you must be hungry like you. Such a performance. If it could be called such a thing.
I can certainly eat. Kind of
Yeah,
assume
let's
there'd
go back
be
to
more of a
tavern.
gathering, but we can always make our own party.
You will then cast guidance to figure out the best Yelp-reviewed tavern in town, and head there. So,
Isn't there just the one?
You could always go for a nice bowl of stew.
The small twigs that you pick up and drop form in the shape of an arrow that points to the singing spade. Where?
this one sticks out.
Ah.
Cute.
Thing is, this is exactly the kind of joke a -1 charisma druid would make. Be like, trying to fit in with this whole socialization thing. This is the best I got.
It's funny because it's
Hey,
true.
Mike rolled the numbers. I just played them.
I love it.
All right. So it sounds like everybody's
9 is
ready
the
with
spade, right?
Yes, it sounds like everybody's headed to the spade outside of Bellarmine. So allow me to.
And also, bird's eye view, real quick. We had kind of figured out that we have to probably head north or west. Was it for the next part of our main quest, whenever that is?
I think it's east. All right.
There are a couple of points of interest. The nearest one is
East. That's right.
east of us.
The Junktown, the Rushlands,
Well,
or
before the Junktown, the northern
It's
cave.
a mine. Yeah.
Mana Mine, right?
No,
And then
northern cave of the Rushlands.
Sort of.
Was my goal in hopes to get us more materials with which I
Yeah.
can help not only the town but us with tinkering capabilities.
Level up a bit.
But
so
then
to
since
speak.
it's so close,
eventually
Yeah.
we don't know where the next mythal might be. It could be in the Mana Mine, it could be in Vineholm, it could be in Junktown,
so we
it could be
surmise
in
that it's on that
Strongmont,
arc.
it could be in Stonegrove.
I
But
see.
we've explored Deadwatch and most of the Southern Wild. We just haven't
Right,
gone
right.
to the moors, and we haven't gone to Wintervane. We haven't done much in the Rushlands or
So the cave in the Rush. Okay, got it.
yeah,
Got it,
Cave
got
in the Rushlands is the nearest point of interest, but I think we're going to stop there either and return or either en route to Wintervane. I don't know that we want to go to Junktown because that's just where the bandits are.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. The mine seems the best place. We can pick up some of those mana crystals and then turn them in town for enchantments and such.
Yes.
Well, Babbage, you will
Like a
accompany
side
you.
quest. Our side quest is that cave in the Rushlands. Our primary quest is find out where the next mythal is.
Yeah.
I mean, you do have the journal notes that you can refer to if necessary.
Yeah, we just haven't deciphered that yet. We may have the answer, we just don't have it yet.
Hmm. All right. So before we go to the singing spade, blessed Bellarmine the Great. You are. Why? Where is your token on here? There you are. All right. So you have managed to get your way. You've made your way back into the basement of the tower. What will you be doing with your time there, sir?
Going back up to the library.
Very good.
Unless there's something to eat.
I mean, there is on your way. So you come in the basement, you go up through Cuddles' den, through River's room, and then you end up in the lab / kitchen space. There is all kinds of manner of like. He actually there appears to actually be a stew going. Actually, no, over here in the bottom left corner, he has like a small little boiling pot. But
Is he there?
No, nobody else seems to be in the tower at the moment. Cognan does not appear to be there neither, and you didn't see River or Cuddles, her pet owlbear.
Has he given us permission to eat whatever we want in there?
I will let you make that decision whether or not you recall he has or not.
I think I'm going to spoon out some stew into a bowl and eat it.
Okay. Allow me a moment. No, where are you?
Some new faces in the tavern tonight. Unless they're just different faces from the original tokens.
Where? Give me a moment.
Is this him? Oh wait, you're not on our map.
No, I'm not. All right, so Bellarmine, as you eat the stew, it seems you get three distinct tastes. Like you get a normal, like it looks like it's potatoes and carrots and like vegetables and like some looks like some sort of pork substitute. Like it tastes pork. It looks like pork. It kind of tastes like pork. It's got a slightly almost tanginess
So it's jackfruit.
to it, so you're not really quite sure. And then as you like you had all
Long
those normal
take.
tastes at you, and then there's a small aftertaste, and you don't know why, but there's a very distinct taste of pineapple, and almost like, but it's almost like there's little bits of broccoli in there, but somehow it has a texture and taste of pineapple. It just like the eyes don't match the taste buds, but that's what you're experiencing in the stew that you have, and you make your
So I
way.
finish it up.
Okay. And then you said you're making your way into the library.
Yep.
Okay. I assume you go. Oops, sorry, I dragged you. I assume you're going back to your little chair spot.
Well, I'm gonna look for some interesting books that might have something worthwhile, maybe historical, maybe revealing.
Okay. You're gonna have to let me pause. So, okay. That's gonna take you a little bit of time. You don't understand. Cognition doesn't have the most um, intuitive filing system with all of his books up here, or at least with all the books up, all of the books up here, I should say. So I'm gonna hold you on that, and we will switch
But
back over.
I'm pretty good at scanning through them quickly.
Fair enough. Do you actually? Yeah. Why don't you do a? If you can make an investigation roll for me. See what
I'm
you can
looking
come up
for
with.
it. I'm looking for it.
Ooh. Okay. Um. Okay. Give me a minute to think about this. What would he have in his library that would be helpful? You come across a catalog, not a catalog. It's a small book that seems to be a tour guide of the island, or like fanciful places. And as you look through it, it actually seems to be. It's almost like a beginner's guide. It's almost like a It's an introductory guide for new wizards to the island that seems to be dated roughly 100 years ago, or yeah, so like before all of the really nasty stuff happened with the big bad whose name is escaping me at the moment. What is his name? I should know these things off the top of my head. It's been too long since I've looked at my own plot. Give me a moment.
Begin with an R.
Revik, yes.
Yeah.
I will provide more details to you. Well, here, the long and short of it is you can, looking at the map, where did I put it?
Did I hit perception?
No, you hit investigation, which is what I asked you for.
Okay.
So
But that means I found the book. But
yes.
how do I understand? How deeply do I understand?
Well, I'm gonna give you a quick synopsis of it. So it's sort of like I said, like a study, like a beginner's guide to the island, essentially almost like a tour guide, if you will. So it talks about how High Lake Village used to be sort of like a rest and relaxation spot. If you pull up the map for reference, actually here, I'll make this easy on you. If it isn't still, why isn't it? Damn it! Did I do the thing where I have to reboot? Stand by. Technical difficulties. Where's my? There it is. Okay, so you have the map in front of you, yeah? And you click on it, it becomes big.
Yep.
So it has a very similar map to this. Junktown doesn't exist on the map. It actually just looks like it's almost like a little like fishing recreational spot there. High Lake Village is described as a sort of a rest and relaxation spot. The Iron Outpost, as you kind of know already, is sort of where trade and most people come in. That's sort of where the customs enforcement was, if you will. And what mostly it talks about Vineholm and Stone Grove were two sort of wizarding school, almost like campuses, like college campuses, but for wizards, basically, or like a college town. And there's even some talk of what appears to be like a botanical garden east of Vineholm. So where that dragon is on the map, it talks about some sort of botanical garden there. The Rushlands in this map is all green, and it talks about like hiking paths through there. And then Deadwatch is also sort of briefly mentioned as a possible place to study necromantic kinds of magics, but for the most part, it's the biggest focus is that Stone Grove and Vineholm really are like it's clear this is aimed for like perspiring or an up and coming wizards, and that those are the two places that they could potentially go to for learning. And there's pluses and minuses to each. Like Vineholm focuses on different schools, Stone Grove focuses on other schools. Which ones the book tells you, I don't have off the top of my head. I have to go back and figure that out. But yeah, that's what you find among the book that you have discovered looking through Cognin's bookshelf.
Okay.
So with that, we'll move over to the Singing Spade. And yes, you've got. Apparently, I made those editable.
No,
yeah.
I put text on top of them because I didn't know who some of them were.
Oh, okay. Yes. So you recognize the two that have the green borders on them as folks that were from the garrison, from the tour that would have happened at least in game time a couple of days ago. Or I guess like more like 2 weeks ago now, probably, is the amount of time total you've actually been on the island. So those two faces you at least recognize. The other three, the three with the white borders in the bottom right corner, just I think you may have seen just wandering around town, but they seem to be very comfortable where they are. They're just mingling among themselves. Same with these two up here, the two with the green border, and then yeah, you recognize Mercury, Grimbeard.
Oh, this is Mercury. Okay.
Yes, that's Mercury. Your Enchantress, Grimbeard. Yep. And then Tiberius and Dimitri are the two. Actually, sorry.
Yeah, they're the two guards, twin brother, whatever's.
Yes. They're sitting with each other. Okay. And Dolan's at the bar.
All right, that answers my questions.
And the moment you walk in, like most people are just sort of sitting down. I mean, you kind of came straight in. Dolan's sort of moving around, providing meads to everybody. He sort of looks like he's cracked open a fresh barrel of the stuff and he's handing it out. There is a rousing hurrah and applause to the three of you as you walk in.
Oh, thank you. It was my pleasure. I hope you enjoyed the show. This is Paladin. He was just as big a star as I am, if not slightly smaller.
Grimbeard sort of nods, and of all the patrons, seems to be eyeing Paladin. But beyond that, everybody sort of says, "Hooray! Congratulations!" and "Job well done."
Thank you.
A few of them kind of eye you a little more curiously or suspiciously, but otherwise, Dolan comes up and brings basically like a tray full of mead and bowls of stew. Regular-looking bowls of stew to each of you. Where would you like to sit?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll have a seat. Well, let's take a square table in the middle. I'm gonna go sit in my little spot right here. Paladin will stand on the table by the wall.
Very good. So yeah, Dolan delivers food. Pats you candidate on the shoulder since you're the closest one, like a hearty like. Good grab on the shoulder. Like that was entertainment for the ages, gentlemen. I could not have been happier that the three of you got to be thrown in to our annual spectacle. That was wonderful. You brought quite the smile to myself and cheer to the entire town. So for that, I thank you.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself.
I raise my glass of mead that he has, I'm assuming, handed me at this point. And,
Yeah, he's put all the food and the beer out at this point. He heads back, and then he quickly heads back. Seems to like bend over, grab something from behind the counter, and you see him walk over with like this tiniest little like it almost looks like a thimble with a handle on it, and what looks like oil, and like puts that down in front of Paladin.
That's adorable. Paladin will look at it, and he'll look at me, and I'll notice this. So I'll grab my, standard pint glass that I have to two-hand because I'm tiny, and I'll motion to him to do the same. I'll raise it up, and I'll cheers him ever so gently. And then I'll take a drink, and he just dumps it on top of his head, and it seeps through it seeps through the cracks in his little body and starts to lubricate all of his little whirring components inside.
He seems to move with just a little bit more limber in his step.
Red?
With the stew he gives you has no meat in it. It's all vegetables.
I'll hold it up.
Delectable.
Oh, you knows these mushrooms are, what is the word? Underripe. But thank you.
Appropriate.
Yes.
And then he'll pick out one that's like, this mushroom does not go, like...
Wait, where did it go?
And just flick it out, pick it out of the bowl.
Where?
These townsfolk are not mycologists, so they don't realize that some of the mushrooms they may have picked and put into the stew are unpleasant at best.
I am not disagreeing with the reason you threw the mushroom. I just want to know what direction you threw it.
Valid question.
Onto the floor, just through the air, like under your
one
chair.
Of these people we haven't met before.
I just want to understand where it went.
I'm gonna roll a d8 for the cardinal and then secondary directions.
Okay.
So one is north.
Sure.
And we're going in clockwise. So.
All right. So straight up.
Canada. No. Like here.
Oh, are you intentionally sitting at a separate table, or are you trying to sit with the group and I've just got too many tokens jammed in there?
Oh, I don't think I've moved my token because there's a lot of tokens on screen. Where
Here, we'll do this. Okay.
Is that? I kind of can't tell because of the glare in my room.
No, you're
here-ish?
you're all this
Okay.
level. Yeah, that works.
So north is Babbage. Then.
Yes, you. So you just flicked it straight at Babbage, basically.
Ah!
There you go. All right.
You looked at Babbage and just.
I don't know any difference.
I love it. Like,
Now the question is, why did I flick
you.
it out? It's not even like some of these mushrooms have unintended psychedelic. It's more just like, they're incredibly bitter or possibly even kind of toxic.
I mean, ideally, most of that would have been boiled out, but yes, you would know better. You would know better than anybody in the room.
Then again, if it's a stew, it's all mixed in anyway. So.
Right. So yeah, you're all fed. The various different townsfolk come up individually, like Grimbeard. Well, no, Grimbeard doesn't. Like Mercury will come over, sort of shake each one of your hands, like very, very fine handiwork, gentlemen. That was very pleasing. If you could, looking over at you, if you could be a little less destructive. Was that your first ever performance, Mr. You? Sir, you over there?
Said anything about performance?
That mix, that's so much more entertaining. That she just kind of smiles.
And then I don't know how a furbog with no charisma would laugh. I guess my closest idea is like Chewbacca laughing, but I don't even know how to attempt that. So just assume it's that. And kind of hard to stomach, but you realize that it's laughing, so you want to feel good about it. I feel like it's somewhere between Chewbacca laughing and the victory cry of a Tusken Raider.
I picture Jeff as Ludo from the Labyrinth.
Ludo. That's amazing.
Ludo smell bad.
Except I have call lightning and
Yeah.
you know.
Well, he raised rocks out of the swamp with his voice. He's kind of a druid.
Mercury
If you
will
were to
look-
ever start dancing, you know right now what that would be called. But we're not going to go there.
So Mercury looks over at you, Canaan, and is just curious, like, where did you get those boots?
Oh, these old things. Ask your friend Cognan.
Will you be keeping those for the long term?
I feel as though they fit pretty well, and I'm rather enjoying them. You
I
want them?
love them. I'll never take them off.
Right.
Because you can't have them.
Well, if you ever need some boots enchanted, I'm sure I could find a way to make them even more appealing to you. What in the world?
guess
The
we're
police
under arrest.
coming?
Is that the fashion police?
Woo! Why do you have a siren on your phone? Never mind.
I don't know.
I'm imagining that the boots, they actually look like the sneakers from Back to the Future.
Who knew? Maybe, yeah. I mean, who knows? All right. Yes. With that, you get, let's see, these three patrons. Eventually, they sort of like nod and occasionally say hi to you, and then basically head out for the day.
Oh, all right. Guess I'll never get your names.
Let's see. There does come a point actually where, these two, make their way over to the stage. This one pulls out a flute, and this one pulls out a trombone. And the two of them
Pulls out a trombone.
from behind the piano.
Oh, like she's just in her pocket.
She grabs it from behind the piano. I should specify.
That's how I feel too.
Is there something we can do for you, Mr. Sylvia? Is everything all right?
Yes.
Blink twice. If
Blink twice.
being held against her will.
Let's see. And then.
Did you just get a new phone? I don't understand what's happening, Dad. Are you bored?
You said Chewbacca. I was finding the Chewbacca sound, and then I found some of these other crazy things.
I see.
I feel like there's a thing like on the original iPhones where you could drink a beer, you know?
From underneath the table, Mercury pulls out a French horn, and Grimbeard goes behind the bar and grabs a trumpet. So you have a flute, a trombone, a French horn, and a trumpet, and the four of them start playing. I don't know what the Dungeons and Dragons equivalent to jazz music would be.
I think it would just be jazz.
Yeah, I suppose. And then Dolan comes over and hops on the piano, and basically they start just playing some very nice, sort of smooth jazz music, and puts the whole room in a nice low vibe, I guess would be the way to put it.
All right, we vibing.
And with that, yeah, no one else really comes up to say hi to you all, at least as the evening progresses. Everybody basically at one point either waves at you, nods at you, sort of gives you a cheer. But beyond that, everybody seems to be basically up to their own devices at this point.
All right. Well, I've pretty much collected all the information that I want to collect from town before heading out to the mine. But while we're sitting here and my restless fingers can't help themselves, I decided to look back into the journal, and I notice on page... Not 5, page... One of these pages.
4?
I just looked at it. Yes, on page 4, thank you. It specifically states that Gregor says we need to get to Dead Watch, we've been to, the Iron Outpost, we've been to, and the mine. So I think there are 2 possible candidates. One, of course, being the close mine in the Rushed lands, but my instinct tells me that the Mythal is probably not there, and that will continue to be a side quest of sorts. And our ultimate goal should be probably the mana mine as our next major point of interest. And I relay these findings to my friends. Getting to the mana mine may be difficult. We may have to pass through some treacherous, wintry terrain in Wintervein, and also the town of Vineholm. Who knows what's there these days if we can circumvent it. But it seems it's also kind of a long journey.
Agreed. Perhaps we should stop at that abandoned mine on the way. See what's down there.
Oh, more underground. What if there are more spellcasters underground? You does not like being under the earth.
I hear you. I appreciate that, but if we can find some mana crystals or some precious metals and such,
The bones of the earth should live in the earth. But we are in a peculiar situation. You understand.
very
You
good.
wishes to be better prepared with abilities and such. The firebolts from those nasty spellcasters. Ugh. You will not let that happen again.
Well, fight fire with fire, I always say, and Lord knows you're certainly capable, if tonight's any indication.
Yes, but underground, you see, with a spell like Flame Wall, or Wall of Fire, with a spell of Wall of Fire, there's, what is the word? Do not ask you how he knows this word. Collateral damage. Yes.
Well,
There
certainly,
must-
I understand that. Maybe we
There
should
must be a better way in an underground enclosed space to stop the firebolts without hurting you's friends. Ugh. Ugh.
Well, if fire's dangerous, what about some of the other elements? Are you good with earth, wind, water, heart?
Sidebar. Yes. You can do much that is element. You are speaking to the right Firbolg. Yes. So, call lightning will not work underground. You will not prepare that. Earth, yes, always. Earth can call forth. Ice. Ice, no ice. Ice. Maybe. It was speculated in the circle of druids that sometimes the best option was not to reach for your most powerful trick, but to combine tricks and new. What is the word? Unprecedented ways, yes.
Unprecedented. That's a heck of a word there, you. I'm
And
proud of you.
you see like the anime scrambled his brain a little. Which you is not dumb. I don't know why I play him like that.
You just don't know
14
comics
intelligence.
very well.
Yeah, you
Yes.
could be extraordinarily intelligent and just
You
not able to
can
communicate
make-
effectively.
Yeah, that's fine.
You has long suspected there might be a way to bring the hail from above wherever he needs it.
Bring
Mhm.
the hail.
And with that,
Have to be some mighty big hail.
you see the gears turning, and you says, "Follow, follow. You does not wish to make a mess in such a place that serves an adequate stew." And duck outside real quick.
Yeah, I'll take a final swig of my pint and follow. I'm curious.
I have no idea what's going on, so I'm just like, all right, and go.
You're going with him?
Yeah, for sure.
Alright, so I have been keeping track of which spells I use in that performance, so I have no more level
Same.
4s. I have
Hold on, let me grab everybody.
only one more level 3, but luckily. So, okay, once outside, Yu's gonna sit there, and is it nighttime
It appears
at
to
this
be,
point? DM?
Yes.
according to the
If that was
map.
not obvious
pretty
by the
dark.
map.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, but like, is it actually, like, is it dusk, or is it astronomical twilight?
You are in Twilight.
Oh, I hate that book.
So, pesky, sparkly, melodramatic vampires aside,
Hmm.
you will pull out his star map and look at the constellations, and then has the eureka moment, and without a word, will cast create water to create a big blob of water, somewhere, say, over here, close enough, but not right above us, of course.
Okay.
And then immediately cast shape water to.
What container did you create it in? Remember, that's the limitation to gray water.
Oh, that's right. If you'll let me retcon,
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab the empty bowl of stew,
Okay.
throw that into the air, and then attempt to create water in the bowl, and then attempt to freeze all that in one motion.
Say that one more time. Sorry.
He brought his stew bowl outside. He's
Yep.
gonna throw the stew bowl up,
Okay.
fill it with create water, and try to freeze it.
Okay.
Which I assume would be like this much ice.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll say it happens successfully.
Okay. You has discovered, but it's clunky.
I mean, that's a small amount. Can't you make more water than that?
You needs a larger vessel, a larger hollowed tree stump.
Oh, you can't just make like a bunch of water in the air. It has to be in something.
Oh, that is magic of a higher sort.
Eureka moment from the thing that I built last session or 2 sessions ago. And how many times can you make that water? Is that something you can do at will?
The creation is bound by the power of nature, but the freezing of said water is you can do that whenever you want.
So you could freeze it to ice at will, but putting the water in the air is more limiting. You're saying?
Yes, exactly.
Interesting. Could you do it again if I needed you to? I want to test out a theory.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, you could do that again.
So I will.
Three more times before the morning comes.
Noted. I will produce my power airbag,
Yep.
which is a collapsible, reusable airbag powered by a lightning affect engine, which I will remove from my crossbow and embed into it. And I will give you a count of 3. On the count of 3, I'm going to toss this in the air, and you watch. It will expand to pretty large size, and we'll see if you could maybe fill that with water and try that same trick. We could get a much larger ball of ice, potentially.
Why has you not consulted Babbage Charles before is beyond you.
Check this out. So I'm going to give you a count of 3. I'm going to toss the reusable airbag into the air. I'm going to burn a 2nd level spell slot, of which I have 1 remaining. And it is going to inflate like an automobile airbag into a container that is roughly 1.5 cubic feet, which contains about 10 gallons of water.
So you do that.
And while that's in the air, after my count of 3, I assume you seize this.
Waggly fingers. And then you so you create water and then you shape it into ice, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
So now this
Create the water in the container and then freeze all that water in the container.
So now this spherical container with 10 gallons of frozen water, which is now ice, hangs in the air a moment before plummeting to the earth.
And shattering as it lands? Or would it just be a solid block of ice at this point?
Yeah, it's a
Solid
solid
block.
block of ice.
Okay.
It's a solid sphere, essentially, of ice. It just thuds to the ground within this soft, permeable bag that can be collapsed and recharged and redetonated with another spell slot.
Gotcha.
Well, now that is a little more substantial. I mean, that's practically an anvil falling on your head.
Yu goes and lifts up the device with the ice, and
Pretty heavy.
kind of 80 pounds, 88 pounds. You're not including the weight of the device itself.
Which is minimal.
I'm not even trying to pick it up necessarily, just trying to move it over, so to speak, and kind of pat down the indent in the ground. Yes.
Alright. You've successfully tested your device. Congratulations. You now have it operating and functional.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
How
This
high
is
can
what
you
we
guys
in
throw that?
the old Artisans Guild would call a wombo combo.
It's just
It's a very technical term.
this is
How high can you guys
druid
throw it in the air?
craft. Druid craft mixed with whatever it is that Babbage does. It's unprecedented.
Indeed. What was that question, Arcana, then?
How high can you get that thing in the air?
Well, I mean, the bag itself is relatively light. I'm sure I could throw that upwards of 30 feet.
And you will communicate. Let's see. You looks at Canadin and says, do you have your spear?
I could
Andy?
probably throw it even further, really. I mean, these affect discharges I've been throwing in our fights, I can throw those up to 60 feet away.
And
roughly.
how heavy
So
is this?
you is 7'8". How high aloft would my outstretched arm stand? We'll say 10 feet. Is that fair?
Yeah, we'll call it 10 feet.
Tips of my fingers totally straight up or pointing would be 10
It's
feet.
probably fair.
So that means 10 feet off the ground plus another 30-foot range. So technically 40 feet directly above me, or say 10 feet above the ground and then another 30-foot line.
I don't know
away
if that's
from
how
it.
spell range works, Jeff.
Because if we need to,
I think that's accounted for in. I think your height of your character is accounted for with spell range.
I see.
if we need a targeted strike, I could always mage hand that over the top of somebody.
Mage hand to the collapsed device, which is quite light.
Yeah.
Very
there you
interesting.
go.
I wouldn't have to throw it at all. Look at the three of
Sure.
us putting our heads together. Get a little pint in us, and we start
This
really
is-
thinking.
This is cantrip Voltron.
And I'll form the head.
I'm imagining. I mean, my brain goes to Chrono Trigger when like all three characters combine together to do a specific kind of attack.
Yeah. Where's Bellarmine? He would have appreciated this.
I don't know if he didn't communicate where you left after the three of you. So
Nope, he just
he beelined across the
So
amphitheater.
Zach, create water has a 30-foot range, and so does shape water. So even if with the mage hand, I would have to be within 30 feet of the container.
Oops, sorry.
All good.
Missed my button.
Right, but if I wasn't in a position to be able to throw the bag over his head, Mage Hand could do that.
Yes.
Interesting.
My ears are ringing. Somebody's talking about me. Where are my retainers?
Okay, so you looked
Someday.
at Canadin and says, "You a spear is what 6 feet tall, right?
Roughly.
Yeah, it's probably my height. Yeah, sure.
You about 5 spear lengths, Canadin friend. Yes, 5 spear lengths. As far as you can get this.
Yes, perhaps. Or what what would a ranged attack be? 2060?
Yeah, so you can throw a spear 20 feet with no penalty and up to 60 feet with
At
disadvantage.
disadvantage.
Yes, that's what that 2060 means.
So yeah, no, oh, darn it! I keep doing that. I keep trying to click the cog.
You turns to Babbage in the Canada and says, "Let's see if those nasty firebolt hurlers have anything to say about a big hailstone."
I think after a hailstone of this magnitude, they won't be able to say much at all. Well, this is good. We'll keep this in the old back pocket, so to speak, and
Hey,
employ it as
in
needed.
terms of conservation of momentum, if we were to throw the device and while it is in flight, kill it and freeze it.
Which is what they're doing.
I think the moment the mass of the water appeared inside the bag in a stationary position, the bag itself would be essentially halted, as it contains very little mass by comparison.
Okay. So it wouldn't have to do with the initial velocity of the affect engine.
Oh no. I mean, imagine throwing a water pail, and halfway through your throw, a bunch of water just appeared inside of it. The water itself wouldn't have any momentum at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Physics is something I'm a bit studied in.
That's an interesting question. Anyway, will you all be doing anything else in the town this evening?
At this point, my brain's a bit befuddled, and I would like to take a quick rest. By quick, I mean overnight. And I feel we should find Bellarmine in the morning and make our way to the mines.
They call it a
Agreed.
Call it a mine.
Before we do that, I'm gonna switch actually back over to Bellarmine. While you're studying this book, Bellarmine, Cognin does. You do hear. Actually, I don't know if you'd be able to see him. No, you probably wouldn't. You do hear somebody coming up the stairs, passing up through the library.
And so I call down to him and ask him if he has any insight on the items in this book.
Good day to you, blessed Bellarmine. How may I be of assistance?
Do you have any insight on what this book reveals?
Oh, Fagay kind of takes it, flips through it. Oh, outside of this is just basically the layout of what the town was long before Revik decided to turn this whole place into his evil playground.
But is there anything here that we can use that might help us on our journey to find the last items?
Nothing specifically. It does speak to. Oh, this is interesting. Hold on. Where's my map? I'm always pulling this thing up and down. I mean, outside of giving you a little bit of detail about Vineholm and Stonegrove, put this down as a note, somebody. This place, this book of yours has. I don't have them. Wait, do I? I probably do. Actually, I know I do. Give me a minute. Do I have it up already? No. do this. Bellarmine. Alright, Bellarmine, tell me. I'm trying to show you a map of Stone Grove. What do you see right now?
It's something very dark that I can't see.
If you're all the way to
anything.
the left on the very large map.
Is that me?
I believe.
I see. Yeah, I
Oh, you
see
have,
me
like.
all the way to the left.
Alright, hold on. Give me a moment. Vision on.
Should I cast light?
No. You're not actually there. I'm trying to. Okay. Alright. You are. Alright, can you see the whole map now?
Yes.
Okay. You are looking at a map of Stone Grove. This spot down here is an actual building, even though it looks like it's debris. But yeah,
What's
you
that?
have. So you have what basically this is a map of Stone Grove, and it's labeled such that like this here is. So you got this town sort of in the middle. That's all looks like mostly just lodgings and small storefronts. A cathedral up here, and then what is basically labeled as a college or a school and a library is number 4 there on the top right. So you have access to this
And
map.
in the book.
Yes, in the book. I know it looks like you're physically
So I
there, but
asked.
it's just the easiest way for me to pull up the map for
Sure.
you.
I asked Cognan if I can take this book with me.
You are more than welcome to do so. Do I have? Hold on. And you also have a map of Vineholm, but I don't have it easily accessible at the moment, but I can give it to you if I remember correctly. So with that, I will put you back at the Mage Tower.
And I make a note to myself, as soon as I see the guys, I'm going to show them this book and those 2 maps.
Very good. Where's my maps?
You wanted me to make a note of something, or is it sorted?
What did I say?
Make a note to myself. Let's show
No,
the
I
book
thought
to you guys.
I thought Mike said somebody write this down and then said some stuff.
I did, and I forgot what it was, which is why I told you to make a note of it.
Yeah, no, I was writing things down, but then he showed me the map.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he gives you a picture of. He also gives you a map of Vineholm. I don't have that easily accessible at the moment.
And I also tell Cognan that I ate some of his stew.
Oh, I wasn't quite done putting that one together yet. How did it taste for you, sir?
It was fine. It was fine. Very unusual, especially the pineapple.
So you've been sitting this whole time, yeah?
I've been sitting, yes.
Okay. I ask for no particular reason.
And I'm going to decide to go to sleep right here.
Right there in
we're
the
done
chair.
talking to Cognan.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I usually go.
Fair enough. No, that's true. Okay. So yeah, he just points out the fact that those are maps, giving you basically a layout of what's where. I just haven't. I'm debating which. I have multiple maps for Vineholm I need to decide with, and I just have to get back to which one. I just haven't decided which one yet because you are nowhere near there.
I ask him one more thing before he leaves.
Yes.
Is he aware of the kinds of preparations we may need for the things we might encounter if we were to go to those 2 places?
Goodness. I mean, that's Stone Grove is a long journey. The fact that you managed to get to Deadwatch and back is impressive on its own. Whether or not you're going to go to Stone Grove and then Strongmont, I mean, you would have to make sure you bring at least a week's worth of provisions, if not more, to get back across Three Bridge, through the Southern Wild, and then I have no idea what you would encounter at the moors outside of just dealing with swampy terrain, more than likely. As
Mhm.
for winter vein, you'd likely need cold weather gear. It gets very, very cold up there as a result of some ancient magics that occurred on the island that seem to have, well, I don't know. No one's been up. No one has successfully been either to the moors or past the Rushlands from anybody that lives here. So my guess is cold weather gear, but your thoughts are as good as mine on this.
So I make notes on all of this to share with the guys.
Okay. Why is Jeff rolling for initiative?
Sorry,
Nine.
because this the amulet that I have gives me advantage on initiative if I choose to expend a charge. So I'm testing it out, but it's not rolling at initiative. It's not rolling with advantage. So
I have to
You
take
just have the
5.
auto advantage.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Which is
can we
perfect.
say that again?
On your character
Advan-
sheet, just toggle advantage on.
I have that. I have advantage selected and also roll queries advantage toggle.
If advantage is selected, it should roll with advantage.
Initiative, I think, works differently, but
Let me
anyway.
test it.
Initiative modifier, initiative style. Oh,
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right.
there it is. There's a drop down initiative style. So no.
Nope.
What the hell?
Anyway, we can figure that out without interrupting Mike.
It is rolling initiative. You just don't see it, or it's rolling advantage. You just don't see it.
Oh, yeah. If you hover over it, it's rolling
2d20s.
2 d20s.
It rolled a
But
3
not
and it
the
rolled a
first
3
three
and an
rolls,
18.
only the last roll he did.
Yeah. Whatever you just did worked, Jeff. Because you rolled a 3 and an 18, but only the 18 is showing.
I see that. Okay, so we just roll that and then hover over to know what the advantage roll is. That works.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Are you all headed back to the tower?
Well, no, when you roll it, it spits out the advantage, the better of the two advantage rolls.
Yeah.
So you just have to, you're gonna have to change initiative style.
Or
When
or
you
just if
don't
I run
have
out of charges on the amulet, then I just take.
Yeah, just go. You'd have to go into the sheet, change the style back to not advantage.
So in this case, since I'm at advantage, it would keep the 18, but technically the 3 was rolled first. So if I ran out of charges, I'd have to take the 3.
Yes.
Right, but we wouldn't know that unless you hovered over. So if you run out of charges, you should go into your sheet and change your initiative style back to normal.
Gotcha. I'm basically always going to roll at advantage until I run out of charges. So I have a box set up for Sentry Amulet right now.
Yeah, just manage that.
That's fair. I assume you're all headed back to the tower at this point.
That was my plan, was to head back to my room and bed down for the evening, find Bellarmine in the morning, and head out, as I said to the party.
Okay.
And try to
Question, let me go back to the inn.
I'm guessing I don't
Oh.
need to worry about clothing as much as the others, but maybe I help Babbage look for winter wear down in all the kit and caboodle down here.
Where did? Oh, there you are. Okay. All right. So, Canaan, you go back to a bed. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I go back. Wave my good nights to Dolan if he's still in the bar and any of the
He is.
patrons.
He's at the bar.
Yeah.
The place is quieted down by the time you're in. It's just him and Grimbeard at this point.
So then, you know what? I'll actually stop at the bar. I'm gonna stop at the bar for a little nightcap and just kind of chat it up with these guys. So Dolan, you know we're headed out east tomorrow. Any words of advice? Any suggestions? What do you know about heading over the bridge?
He kind of looks over at Grimbeard. Grimbeard just kind of like shakes his head. I believe that's where you headed over to get River, as I recall. Yes. I don't know how you intend to get past that fort. In the past, the bandits have... The few times we did try it, I mean, you probably saw the remains. I know. Have you ever gone to clear up? Grimbeard just kind of shakes his head. Yeah. Well, if you've been across the bridge, you probably saw the aftermath of what was one of our initial sort of bloody struggles, if you will. Gosh, I mean, that would have been over. That would have been several years ago now, but no one's bothered to clean up the mess that was essentially our initial clash with the town and the bandits long before we had the walls up. But all attempts to try to get past that bridge, we had initially actually pushed the bandits back across it, but then that fort, they have set up cannons, or at least that's what they think they are. Either way, we knew we were being some sort of explosion, or the cannonballs looked like they were being launched from behind the fort that basically attacked anybody that was on the trail moving up to it. I imagine the only reason you weren't exposed to that last time you went was because they knew you were coming. But I know in all previous attempts, Whisper every once in a while still tries to go over there just to sort of test their defenses and keep them on their toes, but they've been pretty on top of shooting at her whenever she goes and scouts out the space.
And
She has not.
this is which bridge again?
Whisper, you said, huh?
Yes, come to think of it, she has not checked in for some time.
The northern bridge to the Rushlands, Jeff, that we followed to go get River back.
And the fort you're referring to is Junktown or a different
No,
fort?
no,
'Cause
right on the other side of the bridge.
I don't see another.
Not on the map. It's just what we encountered when we went to go get River.
That's right.
That was where we got caged.
Yeah, Red Cage.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's as far east as basically anyone has gone in any sort of recent time.
I see.
Anyway, friendly anyway.
So that's just across from the Rushlands to Wintervane.
No,
Just on the other side.
that's just
No.
across the bridge from Old Orr's Tower into the Rushlands.
Yeah, you didn't go very far.
I see. Okay, got it.
So yeah,
So our side quest brings us right past that anyway. So
Yeah, if we get through the tower, then we can get to the cave. But
You
that
said
fort,
Whisper
that
hasn't
fort
been
is a problem.
seen.
The other option is to go south and circumvent the fort, but it's a longer journey.
do we actually have a copy of this map, like a physical copy of this map, that where we see this?
The outdated Isles map? Yeah, we have that from Cognan, I believe.
yeah, Bellarmine's been the one carrying it, but yes, he got that.
You's listening to all this, and he looks and he says,
Well, no. This is you all are table talking right now because
Yeah, I'm just talking to you,
"Oh,
Jeff.
sorry.
Zach is the
You're
only one
not-
at the
you're not
table.
with Zach.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Okay.
I thought we were all down here in the tower.
That was just you and me chatting.
No, Canadin is
Well-
only talking to Dolan at the Singing Spade. And with
Oh,
that,
so
I'm
his
gonna-
token isn't actually there.
No, I moved him, and he and I are both on the Singing Spade right now.
For
Okay,
time's
so I hear
sake,
you.
I mean, we can. I'm going to relay all this information to you guys anyway. So for time's sake, it's not
Yeah,
really table
that's fine.
talk. We'll just pretend this conversation is just
but I'm
happening
gonna
at the same
pause.
time.
Possible on your way to the tower, you're jumped by bandits and never get to tell us this. So we can't know it until we know it.
This is true.
But so yeah,
I can
Dolan-
handle a couple bandits.
But actually, I mean, it was table talk a second ago, but you guys beat me to the idea that like Dylan would say that something to the effect of, yeah, potentially you could go out if you decided to go south and circumvent the fort. We know Whispers also mentioned that there's at least a lookout point of a camp across the southern bridge into the Rushlands. So I mean, we have everything we need on this side of the bridges, so we just don't bother. It's not worth the risk to our lives, really, or at least it hadn't been before now. Grimbeard is all just sort of nodding his head approvingly to everything Dolan's saying. Yes.
Dolan is not a liar, I agree.
Yeah, Grimbeard rarely utters more than one word at a time.
He's just the click on audio of every dwarf in World of Warcraft.
Pretty much.
All right,
He
good.
did play a mean trumpet earlier, though.
Very well then. Thanks for the heads up. And have we seen what was her name again?
Whisper?
Whisper. Thank you. Yes.
You met Whisper? Is that the question?
Oh, we've met her.
When was the last time we've seen her?
You saw her on the way into town. The very first, like, way back toward the beginning of the campaign when you first
Yeah,
were coming
she-
off of the crash.
and, like,
She was
Never
the owl lady.
Yes.
Yeah, but
She met you on that floating island that you basically camped out at before you went across.
Yep. The shooting arrows. Yeah.
Yes.
She,
Yeah, she had a very powerful, but she had some pretty yeah, she had a some spiffy arrows flying out of her bow.
Did when was the last time we've seen her though? That was the last time.
That was the last time you've seen her.
And so
Dolan.
when was the last time Dolan saw him? Her.
She helped get some of the other survivors of your airship crash back into town, who have all been sort of recovering in one of the other rooms upstairs, on and off. But she hasn't checked in about a week. I mean, when she came in a week ago, it was while you were out to the Dead Watch, I believe, right? And we told her of your exploits there. It's possible she may have tried to go and find you, but I have not seen her since. And I'm usually, and it's either me or Julie that she checks in with whenever she comes by. Usually for supplies of a sort. She'll typically take about 5 days worth of rations with her whenever she goes out. Although I know she likes living on the land. Quite the loner, that one.
Interesting.
Not a musical bone to her body. To which Grimbeard's like, yeah, never really quite fit in. But I digress.
All right, very well. Yeah, so you said she checks in with you or who else?
Julie, the red panda lady.
Julie, yes. All right, very well. I was gonna go to bed, but maybe I'm gonna go find Julie real quick. And I finish my drink and thank you, slam it back and head on out. What time is it now? Is it like
it's
an
like
unreasonable?
11, it's like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock.
It's kind of late. Yeah, then maybe I second guess that. Maybe I'll go look for Julie in the morning then.
Got it.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Not so urgent as to have to wake her up. But.
Yeah, Dolan does suggest most people are in bed by now.
Yeah. All right, very well. So then I will head upstairs and crash.
Mr. Stormblessed, do you know if your compatriots intend to use the room anymore, or should I move you into one of the single beds and they've found their own quarters elsewhere?
Oh yeah, that's fine. I believe I'm the only one that crashes here anyway.
Very good. And with that, let's see if I can remember how I even did this, because this is old school lighting.
So do I still have one more action before the next day?
What the? Allow me a moment. There we go. You are given access to a queen bed, and they're basically like the local suite there, Canadian.
Fancy! I got an upgrade.
Yes, you did. Alright, so all of this now gets hidden again. Okay. Alright, so Canadian's going to bed. What would you like to do, Bellarmine?
Well, before I go to sleep, I stop this long Gregorian prayer to increase insight and perception.
Very good. Can you describe this prayer for me? Like, are there what other physical? Okay, well, what are the physical components to it? Like, I know you're saying these things, but like, do you have to kneel? Do you stand up? Do you?
Yeah, there's a combination of kneeling and standing, bowing.
So the moment you go to stand up, you discover that you have no feeling below your knees.
So I'm doing a lot of kneeling.
All right.
We can't hear whatever's coming out of your phone, Dad.
Yeah, we can't hear what's coming out of the phone, I'm afraid.
You can. Oh, it's a Gregorian chant.
Got it. It's so you're doing a Gregorian chant, just oh type of thing. Yep. Right.
I heard that, Jim.
Yeah. So okay. I mean, you just so for whatever, like you could still move, but yeah, you have no feeling below your knees, like your shins, your
And I'm
toes,
gonna
your feet.
ignore that, and I just keep going because I'm looking for more perception and more insight.
Okay. Goodness, let's see.
And eventually, I'll get enough perception or enough insight. I'll figure out what happened.
Just to
Has to do something to do with the stew for sure.
ah. um, you do surmise that the stew probably had something to do with the fact that your, yeah, legs don't seem to want to register that they're there anymore. It makes kneeling and standing really wonky, but you manage, especially with some divine
But it
guidance.
but it might cause a deeper and more refreshing sleep.
I suppose if you do spend a lot of time on your feet, which you as adventurers would do, there is that numbing of the pain. Yeah, I suppose. I don't. Calluses and feet pains and aches are not things that we normally like to roleplay in fantasy settings, but I suppose.
But for a 70-year-old cleric, bad knees is really something
is
I know all about.
that is a fair point. You sleep soundly. So Canadan's not on the map. So Babbage and you, are you doing anything before bed?
Yes. I would like to experiment with the mana crystal and affect engines and see if I can get any sort of reaction to occur betwixt the two. Just shot in the dark, sort of trial and error research.
Sorry, I got distracted by Streamlabs chat. One more time?
The mana crystal
Okay.
and my affect engines, and exhausting options to see if I can get any interaction betwixt the two.
Ah. How long you get? How long are you going at this for? How long, what other phrase? How long would you be willing to go at it for?
Well, I mean, I could go at it all night and still get a full rest because of my tireless trait.
Got it. Okay. And that's your intent.
Yeah, I wanna spend the night seeing what, if anything, I can do to combine the power of my tinkering and affect engines and the energies contained with the potential of my mana crystal.
The big one you've got.
Yeah, the big bad
Got it. Okay.
starship levitator.
Gotcha. Okay. Huh. I'll have to ponder that one. Are you doing anything else before bedtime?
Normal routine.
Normal routine for the furblog who normally lives outdoors. Very good.
Well, stepping out, looking at the stars, meditating on spells for the next day, etc., etc.
Very good.
Uh,
Very good.
Functionally, since Yu's very comfortable in the elements, would I have a good idea of whether or not I actually need to don some kind of winter garb, or is my fur enough?
With regard to what? Like just being outside?
Well, if we travel up north to
We
the
still haven't
snow-covered
talked
region.
to.
Oh, that's right. That was.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that. Okay, never mind.
Okay.
Yep, preparing spells for tomorrow.
Your affect engine and the mana crystal. At the moment, I'm going to say no, just because the mechanisms by which your affect engines work tend to be much more. Yeah, since there's capture ambient magical energy and convert it into elemental output. Okay. You get a sense that if you could harvest the energy from the mana crystal somehow, like you could extract it in some way, shape, or form, it could give you more potent affect engines, but like how to practically do that, you think would take a lot more than a night to figure out.
That's fair. But there's a lead, a thread.
There is a thread, yes.
Upon which I shall pull.
Very good. Yes. Yes. So you make flame engines, you make lightning engines, and you make cold engines. Hold
Yes, those are my 3 possible elements.
on. Right. Give me a second. Give me a quick moment here to ponder. No. I just want a list game. Come on. Okay. Yeah, you think there's a thread that you could possibly make a force engine.
I'm sorry, what?
A force engine.
An affect engine of force?
Correct.
That would be more than just like a, oh neat. That would be like a flip my entire class mechanic upside down on its head revelation.
It's a thread.
But cool. So now I'm really intrigued.
There you are. It's a powerful little artifact you have in your hands.
Guild learned about tinkering.
Artifact's the wrong word, but yes, you're a tinkerer.
Yeah,
it makes
everything
sense.
my guild learned about tinkering,
Tickle tinker
has been able to attribute all physical and energy outputs, all electromechanical work to be done could be converted from the capabilities of flame, cold, and lightning. So the fact that there's a 4th engine that could do something else, like I don't even know what box to put that in.
I will let your imagination run wild with that one. All right.
So that's really interesting.
With that, does anybody else have any alibis before we jump to the morning?
No, I'm just wondering if I got any increase to perception and or insight.
Maybe. Nothing that you didn't feel any specific divine guidance at this point, but it may come to you in a future
No, I
moment
didn't.
of need.
I didn't feel anything from the belt down.
True enough. It could have all been in the toes, and you just wouldn't know. All right, it is now morning, and we will jump. Since we ended there first, we will jump back to the Singing Spade. Canadin, you are well rested.
I'm well rested
Should I-
because I waited out my extra couple hours just for everybody to wake up, and then I will head back downstairs. Is anybody in the pub?
Dolan seems to never leave his bar. You're not really sure when he sleeps.
I'm gonna grab a cup of to-go Joe and head out and kind of take a look around for Julie.
Very good. I will move you to harm's way. Bellarmine, were you trying to say something before? I'm sorry.
No, I'm just working my way down so I can head to the Singing Spade.
Ah, okay. Oops, I grabbed the wrong. Nah.
If I have portent rolls from sometime in the last few sessions that I haven't used, do they still stand, or do I need to re-roll them every day?
You have to re-roll them every day.
Yeah, it just states after finishing a long rest, the player rolls 2d20s.
Yeah.
So it just happens.
Ooh, I like those numbers.
Debuffs.
All right. So, Canadin, you are making your way over to building number 3. That's where Julie lives. However you intend to get there.
I suppose I'll just go south, stay on the same level.
Okay.
Oh no, yeah, it doesn't matter. Instead of going through the tower, I'll just go south and around.
Gotcha. You take a nice brisk outdoor weather. The weather is slightly chillier this morning than you've been used to, but for the most part, it's still pleasant. You've never really noticed it like rain heavily. There is dew on the ground, but otherwise, yeah, you make your way across. And then we're gonna jump to here. So you find yourself outside a building you've been in several times now. You do see the occasional bee buzzing around in front of the door as you walk up.
Alright, well, I will knock on the door. A nice, polite person does.
Um, I don't know why you felt the need to point that out, but I like it. After a slight delay, the door opens. You are greeted with a red panda bear wrapped up in a towel with like another towel, like basically like curled up, holding on to your hair up. Her eyes are closed as she just kind of opens the door and yawns, big giant bear teeth. She's like, Mercury, I wasn't expecting you back this. Oh, but hello there.
I catch you at a bad time?
No. She kind of closes the door back up and like starts speaking out. No, I just wasn't expecting some guests this early in the morning. How may I be of assistance there, Mister Storm person? Yes. Fantastic job as the ghost of Jolly Pleasant, if you will. That was a wonderful performance, by the way.
Yes, I thought it was a wonderful rendition myself. But in any case, when was the last time you've seen Whisper?
Oh, that fly owl lady. I believe, gosh, it has been some time now that you mention it. I would like to say I saw her fly off about. I want to say it was about 5 days ago. I can't say that I've talked to her for about over 2 weeks, really since shortly after your party's arrival. I must say, I do. She does normally like to come by and take in some mead for herself on occasion, but I'm afraid, no, I have not seen her. I'm a bit, so I'm afraid I can't be much more help there. If there's nothing else, she kind of like looks out the door to like see if anybody else has like noticed. Sort of peeks back behind the door. I really must be getting about my day, if you don't mind, good sir.
Yes, very, very well. If you see her, let her know that I was asking for her.
Very good, thank you. And if you happen to see Miss Mercury or Miss Teg, let them know I'm expecting them at their earliest convenience. Thank you. And with that, she just
Yeah, of course.
And with that, she closes the door.
Okay, interesting.
Where
Now, did I notice that she was being truthful, or did she seem like she was hiding anything?
Roll an insight check.
Roger Dodge. Coming up, where is it?
She seemed clearly embarrassed about something. Not yeah. She seemed like she was hiding something and embarrassed about something. Like you got the sense that she was. I mean, you got the sense that she was not like. She seemed when she was opening the door to be like smiling and like happy-go-lucky, and then like once she realized that you were not Mercury, she was like, and like you think you saw red fur somehow get more red in her cheeks, and then hence closing the door.
So then as I'm walking away, I just kind of chuckle to myself a little bit, and head on to try to go find the crew. I'll head back to the tower.
He heads to the tower. All right. While he's walking
relay what I found. Yeah, and if I see Tag or Mercury, on the way, I'll flag them down.
Are we going to the tower or the singing spade?
At the moment, you're waking up in the tower, so I'm saying you're still in your bed for now, or your chair, after your prayers. It is morning time, and we'll go to you, Bellarmine. You are waking up after a long night's rest and relaxation. You do, in fact, have feeling in your toes by now, or like all feeling seems to be returned.
I'll head down all the stairs.
So we've decided on the cave, yes?
And now the three of you are in the basement. So Bellarmine makes it down to the basement. Basically, yep, making your way down. River is still asleep in her bed as you walk through her space. You also hear what you can only assume is the snoring of an owlbear as you move through Cuddle's den. And as you make it downstairs, you start hearing the movements. Well, you hear what sounds like what you've now come to assume is just the tinkering noises of Babbage, as well as Paladid in this case. I'm assuming you slept on the couch per usual?
Sure.
Congdon there? Congdon there?
No, you have not seen Cognan on your journey down the stairs. But you do see you slowly rising from the couch as you make it to the bottom of the steps.
So I call all the guys together.
I look up from my tinkering.
I got something I need to tell you. I found a real good book, and I got some information that might be worthwhile.
Do tell. I'm all ears.
Well, I got two maps here. One of Stone Grove, one of Vinehome.
As
And,
you are saying that, Canadin walks in through the basement.
Morning, gents.
Morning. Bellarmine was just telling us that he has some maps.
You hear a Wookiee-sized yawn from the Furblog, and the conversation continues.
And so
Good
the
morning, Scruffy.
Stone Grove is to the south, and that's going to be a very long walk. We've walked part of it before, but we had to drag the ladder to get across these bad bridges. And Vinehome is in the north, and it's very cold. In both cases, we're going to need a lot of provisions, and if we're going to go to Vinehome, we better have some good warm clothing.
Ah, I assumed that was just faded map. You're saying that actually is a wintry biome?
And the best I can learn from not only the map, also from Congdon.
Very interesting. You said you had maps of which two locations?
Of Stone Grove and of Vinehome.
Stone
I've really
Grove.
looked thoroughly at the one of Stone Grove. I haven't really looked thoroughly at the one of Vinehome because it just wasn't. I didn't have time.
Would you mind terribly letting me take a look?
You absolutely can look at them.
I will do so.
Now remember, we've only seen one so far. Because
We haven't been to either of these places.
No, I'm saying we've only seen one because Mike is not sure which one he's going to use for Vinehome.
Oh, I see.
Hold on. Give me 30 seconds here.
Take your time.
But we can put the Stone Grove one on for sure.
We'll just throw this.
The Stone Grove is the long walk to the south.
Oh, yes, I'm aware. It's in the moors.
We need plenty of provisions, and you know what we're going to encounter already.
This is Vinehome, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Vinehome.
Spell it right now.
Interesting. So it looks like looks like there's not much of a road or a rhyme or reason to Vinehome. We may be able to circumvent it altogether. We can just stay on the outskirts.
We just don't know for sure if there's something there that we need to find.
According to the journal, our next mythal should be in some kind of mine, which is not a town but a mine.
Yeah, but we'd have to pass through Vinehome to get to that mine, and that's to the north.
Do we know if Vinehome is said to be hostile or friendly? I assume everything's hostile on that side of the bridge.
Yeah, I couldn't get any to first base on those questions, but we know every time we leave the town we encounter something that isn't too nice.
Yeah, I tend to believe that if we're not in this biome on this town. They're probably either an enemy or an unknown, and I'm pretty wary of both.
Well, there is a cathedral though in Stone Grove, and I would love to explore that.
The book you have, Bellarmine, tells you that there's essentially there's like a mage's college, like a full-on university style thing in Vineholm, and lesser so, but still like a small mage college in Stone Grove, and also a pretty substantial library in both places.
Library is marked with a number 4. The cathedral's marked with a number 3. I'm not sure what 1 and 2 are marked at in Stone Grove.
Let's see. 1 is sort of like a town hall, and 2 is a general store / like boating supplies, fishing supplies, sort of type place. I do not have an answer for what all the numbers are on the Vinehold map yet.
Now these indications of what these buildings are on your map, that's from whenever these publications were written, which I assume was long before the Crescent Isles were a floating island. Is that accurate?
Been a long time ago, but I don't hear you anymore. Something happened.
Jim?
But it's definitely a decent map, and there's some numbered buildings. 1, 2 in Vineholm.
Yes, but I'm saying the
3, 4,
description of those locations. I mean, for all we know, these towns could be buried ruins under snow or sunk into the swamp. But the maps we have
It
are what
could
they
be.
were as they were when the Crescent Isles were still an island in the ocean.
Right.
So who knows
Yeah,
if
they
we'll encounter.
could have swapped over. I mean, it could be hot as could be, but I would say to the north it's probably cooler, and to the south it's probably hotter. And I would say we need to be prepared for both situations.
Well, I think both Wintervane and the Moors are problems for future us, and present us needs to be dealing with the Rushlands.
At
Yeah.
this, Cognan comes downstairs, kind of catching the
Does he
tail end of your
overhear us?
conversation. I mean, he knows you were talking about the map before, so. If you, so interjecting, good morning, fellow friends.
Oh, hello, Cognan.
You've been a wonderful source of inspiration and information, I should say, about the workings of the island outside of harm's way. If there is one thing that is significantly lacking in my library that I would love more information on, it is any hint toward who Revik was before he took over the island and assumed the persona that is Revik. So if you can find any sort of student registry or some list of some class lists, anything that may indicate who or what, more really, who was in attendance at the college in either one of these towns while you're there, if there's some sort of records you could find, that would be absolutely amazing. Because anything we can learn to find out about what his history was may help us to undo the damage he's done to this island and the world.
Have you read the history of the Crescent Isle by Revik?
Yes, that book was yes. Yes, that was in my. You found that book in his library. I mean, that tells of that we don't know where he came from is the problem. So that's something that would be fantastic to find out about if you can get some sort of hints to that back in either one of the towns or one of the colleges, I should say.
Well, certainly we can look for that.
Sounds like we've just accepted some side quests to go to both of the universities.
I'm just saying if you happen to go through. I understand the mythals are your primary concern.
All right, Cognan, I'll take those yellow exclamation points off of your head.
Hold on 1 second. Yay! Congratulations. Well done.
What?
To get to Stone Grove, though, we got to go through those 3 bridges. It's like we're going to Dead Watch, and then we got a long walk through the moors all the way to Stone Grove.
Sorry.
To go to that cave, though, we can get to that cave in the Rushlands pretty quickly.
How do you figure, Bellarmine?
Well, Old Ar's Tower, there's one bridge, and then there's the cave right there.
No, there's one bridge, and then there's that fort that almost murdered us with a big red cage. Right on the other side of the bridge. Do you not recall?
Yeah. Are they still there? I mean, or maybe they're gone.
Do you think they just abandoned a fortified defensive little position? We're not just going to waltz through the front door.
Or we could sneak through the backside.
The backside.
Going through
As soon as he says that, you see you perk up. You has tricks up his fur that you has not shared with the group until his musings of the stars last night. You see these floating islands. It's hard to judge how far apart these islands are from one another, but if they're close enough, you might be able to get us all across without taking a bridge.
Well, now that would be something interesting.
Yeah.
The problem is you can only do it for so long.
Maybe we can go straight to the mana mine that way.
Well, it's a big risk. I mean, the map that we have, like, can I have a tangible copy in my hand that I'm looking at? Basically, I'm looking at the islands that he's referring to north of the Iron Outpost.
Right.
Yes.
You would need to know the distance.
But send the owl up.
Oh, that's a fair suggestion.
The owl have to stay within a certain range of me.
Well, we'll know
No.
if that.
I think we're talking about
range-
Whisper.
Oh, whisper, yeah.
Well, that's what I thought he meant. I don't know what he meant.
Yeah.
Or are you referring to who?
Whatever he was referring to, Babbage said, I think he means Whisper. I mean, if Whisper can get places, then... Or if Whisper can't get places, that would tell me that you would not be able to either.
But, I mean, who could possibly, fly until he can't fly anymore because it's too far off and then come back and get some sense of the distance if it's real far or not so.
Cognate at this point perks up. I'm sorry, you intend to fly between the islands?
We're weighing possibilities.
You has tricks, yes. They have range, but you has tricks.
Do those tricks deal with giant flying predators?
Oh, do tell.
Whisper herself has tried to explore the mana mine directly, but has never been able to get close because there appear to be I don't know if you'd call them a clan. I'm not a zoologist or an animalologist or a mythical monster type of expert, but I know that there are apparently griffins that fly through the skies between the islands.
It's a hutch of griffins.
A hutch. Oh, yes, thank you. I was not aware.
I don't know, I just made that up. But Babbage said it with authority.
Yes, he did, and Cogan has no idea.
Canon. It is now canon.
A hutch is very good. You must know more about griffins than myself, but I know she has complained of the fact that her attempts to fly across the gaps have been thwarted by...
It's actually a pride or a convocation. I just googled it.
I like Hutch. We're going with Hutch.
A hutchful pride of griffins have tried, so you're more than welcome to. The group of you have managed to make it far further than Whisper by herself ever has, but I just want to warn you that is a risk and a concern about getting across the isles themselves if you intend to fly.
So I asked, what about the little islands in between? Anybody ever explored any of those? They seem to be pretty close.
You broke up there. You're asking if
The
anybody...
little islands in between. Anybody know anything about them?
No, I can't say. Whisper never mentioned anything specific about tiny islands between the larger land masses, so I'm afraid I cannot speak one way or the other to. I believe I know they were basically known as extraordinarily dangerous shoals, hence ships never passed through there into the intersea there north of the Rushlands.
How many how populous is this convocation of griffins?
I do not know.
I mean, a few griffins I wouldn't be so afraid of. I've studied a little animal lore. I understand what griffins are capable of, and I think we're more than capable of handling several griffins.
Can you handle them while you're flying? That's my question.
Maybe.
You have overcome other obstacles in the past.
He's gonna chime in and say, "You can send who to scout, and hopefully who comes back. But if not, another who will appear."
Disposable who's.
Okay.
I would surmise if we encounter anything less than 12 griffins, we should be perfectly fine.
Fair.
You may be able to help Island
Why
Hop.
do you say 12?
Well, in my studies, I've dealt in the bestiaries of the world, and I understand the relative danger of many types of beasts. I would rate their danger on a random scale of about a 2. And with the capabilities of the 4 of us, I would say roughly 12 to 14 of them would be our capacity.
If any character in all of D&D ever would be able to make that quantitative analysis, it's Babbage Charles.
It was Babbage.
Somebody thinks he's
Well,
cute.
maybe who can scout it out a little bit.
I mean, it's certainly worth investigating. Worst case scenario, we just don't do that. I guess worst case scenario, we die and fall to our deaths. Pretty bad case scenario, we just abandon the plan.
Well, there's 8 little islands out there, and should be, or there may be more now.
Or less. There's
Or
no
less.
real-
It's a mystery.
I
And
mean,
I
I
like
don't-
solving mysteries.
I don't know how much.
Well, maybe there are.
You'll have to tell me how much the 3 bridge intended on this island represented accurately what you actually.
I think that was
down.
So
pretty
far, it's been
accurate,
pretty-
actually.
So far, it's pretty accurate.
Fair enough.
I mean, worst case, we'll scout it out.
Let me know.
Let me
if you,
see-
let me know if you've got a giant red dragon flying through the air when you get up to Winterhome. Divine Home.
He's also going to point out at the map. And,
How
gonna-
exactly how accurate do I remember three bridge by comparison to the map, according to that roll?
Oh, hold on. I gotta get to that screen.
ooh, if he's trying to remember this, then I'd like to give him some guidance.
Sure. Roll a d4 to help you with the 7.
Wait a second.
Fantastic.
Wait a second. Can I do something here? I can't do something. I can't help that.
I think just
I'm
straight help
multitasking.
would have been better than guidance, but that's fine.
Hey, he does what he does.
You mean assist on the roll, or
Yeah, just give me advantage rather than guidance, but that's fine.
I have inspiration if that counts for anything.
What was done was
Use
done.
that.
So the map shows you that there were 3 bridges, and there were in fact 3 crossings
Yeah.
that you had to get over.
Yeah,
but
the map says there's 3 bridges. We crossed 3 bridges. That seems pretty accurate to me. We didn't come across a 4th bridge or
you
another
have
floating island.
no but you have no sense of scale as to like the islands that connected you.
It was exactly accurate.
Okay, so since Babbage Charles says something pretty profound, exactly accurate. Let me see. And then Hugh's going to try to recall the
based on the
same
roll,
thing.
he wouldn't be nearly that confident. But if you want to play it that way, I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah, but you don't actually know how
I always
close
play
or far
crit-
off you
I always
are.
play crit fails on remembering things, as I absolutely remember the wrong thing.
It wasn't a crit fail.
It was very low.
My
I mean,
7 was a 1. Oh no, it was a 3.
It was a 3.
You're right. It was just grayed out because it was rolled at advantage.
Yeah.
All right.
can you try to
Then
ponder over the
I-
same
I
thing?
take back my bravado.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was accurate. I don't remember all the details. But, I mean, we crossed 3 bridges, and there's 3 on the map.
You want me to roll a history check? No advantage.
I'm gonna go off of Babbage's interpretation and recollection for this,
Okay.
for your decision-making purposes. So
There's also I've got a
Because
7 on his.
the scale of things outside, above ground, in the elements is something that you would be familiar with. Like, oh, it was this many paces in this direction, give or take.
okay. I'll let you roll then. That's fair.
I mean, I only have a +2 to history because it's intelligence, but
You roll a nature check there, good druid.
okay.
All right. So, based on the map, the scale of the bridges is all wrong. I mean, the bridges
all
on the
wrong?
map. Yeah, like the scale of the bridges on the map is way bigger. Like those bridges are. I mean, like a bridge is the size of the island, right? Like.
Oh, so what you're saying is obviously the bridges are much smaller in comparison.
Yeah, so you can gather that pretty quickly, and then you don't think there's any real. You think the islands were basically just thrown there as like something to connect.
I'm sorry. Doesn't inspiration let me roll at advantage?
Yes. Would you like to burn your
Then
inspiration?
I would.
Okay. In that case, you got a 23. Is what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay. I mean,
You remembers moving the plank across and the
right. You remember
everything
that
else.
you moved the plank across. You remember that you left it on the far side, past the hole that you all had to go across, and then you teleported back here from into Harm's Way / Old Or's Tower. So your bridge is now on the far side of the gaps you used it to cross. And those tiny islands that like 3 bridges connect to are not to scale to like what you actually walked across, as are the bridges themselves are not to scale. I know there was also one indication where like Bellarmine thought that there was a tiny little bridge on the Southern Wilds that was the big bridge before Deadwatch, and you know that wasn't true either. And certainly your exposure to Deadwatch doesn't. I mean, that sense of scale is kind of hard to gauge because like Deadwatch was pretty close off of the bridge, whereas if you were going off of the same scale here, you'd think you would have walked like at least a half an hour to an hour to get to where Deadwatch is on the map. So
Yeah.
there definitely seems to be some artists rendering or some freedom here taken with some of this.
So I just scrolled back up to when I did the math.
And also, you don't remember seeing off in the distance, although it was kind of cloudy, but you don't remember seeing a small floating island to the left of the middle and lower of the 3 bridges. So, like, there's that one floating island there, like west of the bottom of the three bridges. You don't recall seeing that there.
But isn't it worth sending who out to investigate?
Right. I mean, we could do that. We could stake out from Old Or's Tower, right? Head north, not get too far out of the way from the bridge we'd have to cross if this doesn't work, and then send who out there to say, "All right, you crazy spirit owl, what's actually out there?" and then fly back to me. Okay. So we spend an extra day or whatever doing that, and if the gamble pays off, then we can get across and not have to go by the cannonballs and the overland route. And if it doesn't pay off, then we've only wasted a day or two trying to save possibly a week or two. Or longer.
And I'm willing to bet if they drew some islands out there, there's got to be some islands, maybe, or maybe maybe there's a land, a land bridge across.
So
Well, let's be very real. If it were easy to get there, I'm sure Whisper would already have done it.
Yes.
So regardless of what the terrain looks like, this is going to be difficult. The
You
Griffin's not.
you will convey to the group that his tricks that have not yet been revealed can move the party whatever the druid analog equivalent is of 2.27 miles. I don't know, like, oh, you can move the party.
17,000
You can move.
cubits.
Yeah.
I don't know, some generic unit of measurement used in the woods.
I guess you would say
Furlong.
it's this many paces of a man times 2.27. Babbage knows the math better than you. You doesn't even know math or what it is.
27 chains.
So you will convey that to the group, that he can confidently move the group through the air for about 2.25 miles before we absolutely have to land. Actually, no. Double that. It'd be 4.5 miles.
Now, you get the sense from the three bridge crossings that the gap that you have between, I'm going to call it the Ironwood Island, and the Manamine / Wintervane Island is longer than that distance. But again, you don't know if there's you do not know if there are floating islands in the way. So I'm not trying to kibosh your entire plan from the get-go. I'm just letting you know.
No, I mean, okay, so with that little nugget, you will sit there and say, you really wants to show these tricks, but you is not as confident that you and his friends will land on solid ground.
Well, I take that back. You could potentially be able to make it from that, like, if you're going straight up from Ildor's Tower, there's that little, like, jutting out peninsula,
That
and then you've got that
isthmus,
one, you got that, like, one little island sticking out southwest of Wintervane. That gap
Yes.
you may be able to cross.
Wait a minute.
Oh, that's...
Why aren't we just looking at north of the forest? The tiny island, and then the tri-shaped island, and then the mountain
Yeah.
range.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's what Bellarmine's been saying the whole time. Those tiny islands that are floating? Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what he's
Yeah,
been saying.
no, specifically, why are we trying to go from the peninsula to that little island that's like 5 miles away? Why don't we go further west a little bit, and those two islands that are right in line with each other?
Yeah. Well, he's
Assuming they exist.
Yes.
He said he can travel 320 chains. So that's a good chunk.
The pitter patter of keyboard keys flying in the background of Jim's microphone. Okay.
There's 66 feet in a chain.
So the DM is curious what it is that you all intend to do at this point.
Send the owl out to investigate.
I think we should at least scout it.
Okay.
Then you will iterate to the group that if this plan doesn't work, you has the ability, as he has proven once before with the flying bats, to make the group very hard to detect, even if going over a bridge.
Sure. We've got contingencies, which I appreciate. But I, for one...
Heck, we could just fly over that whole area anyway and say, we know that bridge isn't going to be very far, and then we just fly above the range of the cannon trying to shoot at us.
I'm sure I could devise a machine that could take us across the way. I just need far more time and resources. And experience.
And hot air.
It's a thing I could do. I just can't do it yet. But it's something they taught us at the Tinker's Guild. It's part of why I wanted to go to the cave and find resources. Someday, I might be able to take all of us off this island at once.
Perhaps we do this first leg on foot.
So, at this, you will say, so, we must take who and use whose eyes to see ahead.
Sounds right to me. For once in our adventures together, I shall say these words. Lead on, you.
Aha!
Okay, so it sounds like you're all walking out at this point.
I don't know
Yes.
how to turn into a bird, so I'm gonna just kind of follow Yu's lead on this one.
Seems like he has a plan.
Cogna wishes you all luck.
Oh, what about cold clothing? Cold
Well, hang
weather.
on. Based on the drawing of the map, Manamine Island and Wintervane Island are different colors. Am I to suspect that means that only Wintervane is the wintry biome?
At this, Coggan says, Wintervane is known for being more snowy, yes. More of a snowy, stormy, wintry biome. The Manamine is more of a tundra.
So chilly, but I don't need like a fur coat.
I would suggest it.
Very well. All right, then hold on, Druid. We must go see Teg. I'm sure, given the materials, I could fashion a suitable thin but insulating fur lining into all of our clothing.
In Yu's experience in different biomes of the world, did you ever need to don a cloak or anything like that in tundra-like conditions?
I don't know if you've ever been in tundra-like conditions. So I don't know if you
All
would know
things
any
being
better.
equal, the rest of us are not covered in fur.
Canadin, this would be a helpful moment to remember what you have in your inventory.
Oh boy,
Only for you
shame
specifically.
on me.
Particularly a ring.
I don't have a rig in my inventory. Potion of heroism.
Hold on. Da, 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 da. Nope, that's the wrong. Stand by. Where's?
Well, I feel lied to.
I have a signet ring.
Did I not throw it?
I have a signet ring and an amulet of devout. Those are the only rings I got. A ring and an amulet.
Okay, it's not in your inventory, but I gave. This is something that. Where? Hold on. This will hopefully ring
Ah,
a bell.
Ring of Warmth?
Oh, did I go to everybody? That was only supposed. I thought
I
that
don't.
only was
No, that was just a guess. But now I know that's what it was.
I don't see anything.
No, or should you? All right, Zach, does that pop up on your screen?
I'll just plug it in here. There we go. Okay, let me check. Ring of... Ah! Yes. Well, gentlemen, I have this. And I hold up a onyx-looking ring with a red gemstone set into it. And this is a ring of warmth. Anyone and anything you wear and carry are unharmed by temperatures as low as -50.
Why don't I just?
Wow. Chilly.
Well, that's
So
great
I'm
for
good
you.
on that one.
Bellarmine and I will still be meat popsicles if not properly cared for.
Negative, I am a meat popsicle.
So, but that'll reduce the amount of fur I need to find.
Yes, I will be quite cozy. I'm going to drop that into my inventory so I don't
Trying
forget.
to just
You did.
drag. Well, I just typed it in. I was trying to drag it over, but it's
Thank you.
refusing to just plop in, which is annoying. Wait, who did I give this to? Crikey. You've had on the entire time there, and I did not make that clear to you, or at least... That's obnoxious. Jeff, you should see something on your screen.
Ring of the Winding Path? That's not mine.
It should have been one of your starting. I gave you all starting magical items. This was supposed to be one you've had the whole time.
I got my starting magic item. I've had it this whole time.
This one?
Yeah, I've had that.
All right.
I haven't had a need for it, but I've had it.
Right.
Potion of Healing? No. The Ring of the Winding Path. I'm not wearing that.
Is it in
That
your
one.
inventory underneath like the standard?
No, I didn't realize I didn't. I mean, I didn't throw it in people's inventories. I just had it selected to them under my magic items tab.
I was just in your journal.
Yeah.
I have Druidic Focus, Wooden Shield,
Right.
Portent.
All right. Well, we're not gonna worry about that for now. All right. Well, since you haven't had it, I will leave it alone for now then.
So I had an item this whole time, but now I don't.
Well, I mean, you haven't. I intended to give it to you.
Jeff, if you expand in the journal magic items and other accessories, there should be a magic item that only you see in that list.
Yes.
But you don't know that only you see it because only you see it.
Right, I see several items, but the only one that I'm aware of that I'm actually wearing is the Amulet of the Sentry.
That's a new thing. There's an old thing as
Right.
well. That's
Can
been
I
there
just
since
table
the
talk
start of
and
the campaign.
say?
Yes.
I thought Bellarmine was wearing that.
Not Amulet of the Devout.
No. Ring of the Winding Path.
Yeah, that's yours.
Yeah, you've had that since the beginning
I
of the
thought
campaign.
that was Bellarmine's.
Nope.
No, I have a
Oh, that's right. He has the tattoo that lets him ghost step, right?
Yes.
I have an Amulet of the Devout and a Signet ring, but that's all I've got for rings and amulets that I get.
We all got one magic item at the start of the campaign. Yours is that ring.
Wow. Epic brain fart. Sorry, Mike.
No.
Well, if it never made it to your actual character sheet, it's not really your fault.
Also, everybody's got 2 magic items.
Well, yeah, we also have some kind of other potion or something.
No, like Jeff, you have a cloak of protection that should already be built into your character sheet. Jim, you have your haversack. Zach has his spear.
Right.
And Bellarmine has the cloak and what's the other one he's got?
What cloak?
Sorry, the amulet.
Yeah. Amulet of the Devout, a Signet ring,
Yeah, I think the signet ring.
a holy symbol.
Yep. Okay. Some random DM housekeeping for the masses to watch.
So the shield that I have adds 2 to my armor class, right?
Yes.
So AC 4. No, it's not built in because I have studded leather armor, right? That adds AC 12. A shield that adds 2 to that, so AC 14. Oh no. Yeah, no, and then my dex bonus is plus 3. So 14 plus 3 is AC 17. So no, that cloak is not built in.
Global saving throws, armor class.
And
Well, shucks.
not to derail us entirely, but I don't know what his second item is, Mike.
Who? Bellarmine's?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm only aware of the amulet. I mean, there's a potion. Was that the second item?
I think it was, yeah. I don't
Okay.
think I gave him a specific, just to simplify things at the start.
Potion of heroism?
That that sounds right to me. Hold on.
I have one of those in my inventory as well.
Well, you may have
So
acquired one
that was
since.
yeah.
Why can I not just drag this onto his character sheet? I thought you could do that.
You can. You can grab items from the journal and drag them right onto the sheet.
It's not
As long as the sheet's been popped out.
There we go. Oh, it's because I'm pulling it. That's why. All right. Did your AC just? What was your AC before, Jeff?
17. So
Alright.
it's now 18.
Yes. Okay.
And then did you modify the global saving throw modifier? Man, that
Yeah.
that might have come into
that's
play.
Annoying.
I guess it would
Hey,
make
we're all
sense
alive.
that Mike, the reason why I didn't think too much of it is because I see inexorable spear of warning. And I'm like, well, I don't have a spear. So I just thought
Yeah.
that
No,
was
that's fair. I don't know why everybody can see that.
That's mine, yeah.
think
I just assumed that everyone else
showed it
had
to
this
everybody.
stuff.
Nope. I'm sure.
That's the only
Yeah.
that item is the only item I see that I shouldn't. Well,
So I
that
should
and
also
the
have a
amulet.
ring of the winding path. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, teleporting. Man.
Yeah, I don't know what Bellarmine's second item is, if there is one.
There might. I don't think there is. Come to think of it. I think his amulet of out was. I may have forgotten I was going to give him something, and I just don't remember what. Unless.
I mean, it's a pretty powerful amulet, so it might be the only thing you gave him.
Yeah.
Because it gives him a spell DC +1, a spell attack +1, an additional channel divinity charge.
Yeah. No,
I'll-
that's a pretty powerful
Kind
item
of a
by
lot.
itself.
I'll trade what I have for that one.
Yeah. Well, I think it only works for clerics, but moving on. All right. Well, I apologize to the masses for not making that clear from the get-go. Those were all supposed to be items you all had from the beginning. But I guess it's a good thing that we know about them now, as if you don't already have enough stuff to manage with the amount of tattoos and other things that I've given you all.
Right.
Did you modify my saving throw too? So I don't have to.
Yes.
Okay.
If you click, if you
Oh, I see. Yeah,
click
wisdom's now
unequipped and
plus
equipped.
9.
Yeah, if you unequip the cloak, you'll see the numbers update.
I see it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, my bad. Okay. Well, all right. So it sounds like you all have a plan. Now is probably a good place to stop. It sounds like the plan is to scout out whether or not you can safely fly off of this island in some direction or another. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, we're gonna
could we?
scout north of us and see if we can do that.
The island hop, right?
Attempt to, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I will plan accordingly, knowing that that's the direction the party's going in. So with that, I'm going to say goodnight to the internet. Hopefully everybody had fun outside of the just fixing of the DM's ability to use magic items. So with that, yes, everybody say goodbye. Bye, internet. Bye.
Bye.
Hopefully you had fun.